you've got a key sort of vision and mission and set of objectives as a church, haven't you?
Yeah.
Could you just sort of outline those in a nutshell?
The vision for the children's work that we have is a society fit for children, because a society fit for children is a society fit for everyone. So that's what we strive for. Our mission really is to provide psychosocial support for these children so that they may develop their resistance, so that they may develop resilience, and so that they can cope with the challenges that they face. That's basically the mission and the vision of the project that we run. Yeah.
And obviously, this must require a certain amount of resources to carry these projects out. And I think you've sort of got at least one very imaginative source of funding, innovative source of funding. That's a project in its own right, really.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about the John Wesley Training and Adventure Camp that you were telling me about yesterday morning.
Well, Tim, as you say, all of this needs resources, and we soon realized that we needed to do something about this ourselves. So we had a plot of 5 hectares which was available. And so we decided to put up a campsite, which is called the John Wesley Training and Adventure Campsite. So what we do is we bring groups of children that we train, we give them leadership training, we let them do obstacle courses, people come to camp, and the money that we get from that, we then pour into the work that we do. You see, at the moment, we've got an obstacle course there, we've got a park where children can play. That may be something that you take for granted here, because you have lots of parks, but we don't. So we've developed a park where children can just play and be children. And then also we now have a block of showers and toilet facilities. It doesn't have a roof yet, but that's how we operate. We trust God, we have a vision, we trust God. Even if the money is not there, if the vision's there, God will provide, then we do the thing, and the roof will come soon, I just know. And then people come in tents and they sleep, and we take them through a program. In fact, for the past 2 years, 700 children have gone through the gates of John Wesley Training and Adventure Campsite. And it's an amazing thing. It's still a long way to go. We have a 15-year dream to develop this plot, and we take it one step at a time to do that. Yeah, so, but it funds the work that we do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So what would you see, have there been any specific high points or milestones in the last few years in these projects?
Yeah.
And maybe as well, have there been any low points, times of difficulty?
That's right. The high point for me is that we are able to feed or provide psychosocial support to a core group of 40 children each week. But we also feed about 100 children every week. And the smiles you see on those children's faces when you're able to do that. In fact, there's one chap who came into this project, both his parents died, and he came into the project in 2001. He's now a young man, he's gone through the project, he's a young man, and he is now managing the John Wesley Training and Adventure Campsite. That's a personal high point for me, having seen the development in this chap. And then, the fact that we are able to provide not just a service to orphans and vulnerable children, but to children in general. That's another high point, bringing these 700 children through the camp. In terms of low points, you struggle, because these children want to survive. We can only feed them once a week. So it's a struggle, when by the time you see them again on that specific day, they may have, what you said, regressed to doing things that you've taught them not to do. That's a struggle. We don't have staff really, it's volunteers doing this, and yes, the problem of these children regressing because we are only able to do that much.
The frustration there.
That's right, yeah.
When you, as a church, live out the gospel in reaching out to some of these problems, I'm intrigued, how do the people outside the church, non-Christians, when they see that kind of active service, do you find that has an impact on them? Do they, in any sense, get caught up in what's going on?
It's interesting that local business people that are not necessarily Christians have said to us, these children have begged in front of our businesses. We try to get them away from here in various ways which have not succeeded. But we've seen you doing what you've done, and we've seen a difference. And then they get on board, financially and otherwise. One man specifically has really got into this and is with us on this. I'm reminded of a saying, I don't know who said this, but somebody said, preach, 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 and only if necessary, I repeat, only if necessary, use words. And I see this in the work that we do, and how people get on board that are not necessarily Christians. They don't need our words, but they see what we do, and then they get on board with what they do. Not necessarily changing their perceptions about our faith, but gradually doing that as they are involved with what we do.
Thank you. If you could challenge the church here, in this place and context, I wonder, what would you say to us? And you're going in a few days, so you can say what you like. But what would you say to us as a church in the UK?
I was in a service earlier, just before we came here, and I was challenged by what our brother preached today. And it was almost as if he was speaking into the situation. He may not have said it in these words, but I want to challenge the people here to start recognizing what God is doing at this moment, at this specific time, and what God is calling the church, or how God is calling the church to respond within this context to do. This is a wonderful way in which you respond to your time, this specific service. I want to compliment you for doing that. But I want to challenge you as a church here to continue to respond to your context here. There's great need here. This church is in such a wonderful place in the high street. This church could be a beacon to this community, to this world, and it's for you, I think, to ask God, how should we respond to Gisborough at this time, at this specific moment in 2011. So I guess what I'm saying to you is listen to God and respond faithfully to God for your circumstances at a time like this now. Secondly, perhaps, I want to challenge you to begin to care for one another. In our language, in one of our local languages, there's a saying, I am because of others. I say this with respect, but I think that the society is very individualistic. And I think that it's important as Christians that you break that perception that others have of you. May not be the right words to have said, but that you break that, and that you begin to care for one another in church, and not just in church, but then outside the church as well. Because it's when people see how you love one another, it's when people see how you love the world, that they will believe. So yeah, those are my challenges that I have for you at the time.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us this evening, and I hope you enjoyed your last few days in the UK, and we wish you a very safe journey back as well. Thanks ever so much.
It's been
Give Romeo a